Hello everyone, my name is Rahelia Parwati, with student ID 234111051, from Management Class 23C. In today's video, I'm going to explain an important topic in tax law, which is tax collection, or in Indonesian, Penagihan Pajak. This topic is essential for understanding how the government enforces tax obligations and ensures that taxpayers comply with the rules. I will explain the meaning, purpose, stages, legal basis, and real consequences of tax collection. To start, tax collection refers to a series of legal actions conducted by the tax authority to recover tax debts that remain unpaid after the due date. This process is regulated by the Indonesian Law on General Provisions and Tax Procedures, also known as UUKUP. The main goal of tax collection is not just to generate government revenue, but to create fairness, discipline, and compliance within the tax system. Without tax collection mechanisms, taxpayers might ignore their obligations, and this would create inequality and reduce the government's ability to fund public services. Before tax collection begins, there is usually a trigger: the taxpayer fails to pay the tax after it becomes due. This unpaid obligation is what we call tax arrears or tunggakan pajak. Once this happens, the tax authority starts the collection process through several structured steps. The first step is the issuance of the tax collection letter, or STP, Surat Tagihan Pajak. This letter informs the taxpayer that they owe taxes, along with administrative sanctions such as interest or fines. The STP serves as a formal reminder, and its purpose is to encourage voluntary payment before further enforcement actions become necessary. If the taxpayer does not pay after receiving the STP, the next step is the issuance of a forced letter, or surat paksa. The forced letter is a very important part of tax collection because it has the same legal force as a court order. Once a surat paksa is issued, the taxpayer is legally required to pay immediately. Failure to comply can lead to more serious actions enforced by the tax authority. If the taxpayer continues to ignore the forced letter, the tax authority is allowed to perform confiscation, or penyutan. Confiscation means that the government temporarily takes control of the taxpayer's assets. These assets can include motor vehicles, land, buildings, jewelry, stock investments, and even bank accounts. The purpose of confiscation is not to punish the taxpayer immediately, but to secure their assets so they cannot be transferred or hidden. After confiscation, if the taxpayer still does not settle their debt, the next step is auction. However, if the value is not enough, the taxpayer is still responsible for the remaining balance. Aside from these main steps, the tax authority also has additional enforcement tools. One of them is a travel ban, or Penagihan keluar negeri, which restricts the taxpayer from leaving Indonesia until their tax debt is settled. This measure is usually applied to taxpayers with large arrears or those suspected of attempting to avoid payment. Moreover, if the taxpayer intentionally avoids taxes, hides assets, or commits fraud, there may also be criminal sanctions. These sanctions can include heavy fines and imprisonment. Criminal sanctions typically apply in cases of tax evasion, falsification of documents, or deliberate obstruction of tax collection. It is important to know that tax collection also includes administrative sanctions. These sanctions are different from criminal punishments. Administrative sanctions include interest charges for late payments, penalties for incorrect tax reporting, and fines for failing to submit tax returns. These sanctions serve as both a deterrent and a reminder for taxpayers to comply in the future. Now, let's discuss why tax collection is necessary. Taxes play a crucial role in building our country. They fund public services such as education, healthcare, roads, public transportation, and social welfare. When some taxpayers do not pay, the burden becomes unfair for those who do. Therefore, tax collection ensures that every taxpayer contributes fairly and consistently. It also strengthens the government's ability to finance development and provide quality public services. To summarize, tax collection is a structured process that begins with a tax collection letter, followed by a forced letter, confiscation of assets, and possibly an auction. Additional measures such as travel bans and criminal sanctions may apply in serious cases. Understanding this process helps us realize that paying taxes on time is not only a legal responsibility, but also a contribution to the nation's development. Thank you very much for watching this explanation. I hope this video provides a clear and complete understanding of tax collection and its importance. Once again, my name is Rahelia Parwati, NPM 234111051, from Management Class 23C. See you in the next learning session.